expect. These are the maximum sales that we expect. This is the commission that we will pay on certain sales. So when you are analyzing, the background should be a rule which has been set by the business, and they are now analyzing this data using those rules. So in our case, just for the purposes of this lecture, we could say, let's see sales which are above 5,000, right? Sales which are above 5,000. In Excel, there are many ways of killing a cat. This time around, we are using the if function, and we want to see how that function works. So we are saying, let's see cells which are over or above 5,000. Maybe these cells, they require a special attention, or probably there is something that we want to do. So we want to use that formula to do that. So if we were to put that formula, we could just say equals. So we are saying equals, and then we are typing this, right? The if, right? So we are typing it, then we are putting bracket, right? We are putting bracket, then we are selecting, right? This one is, all right, okay, it's all right, which is F2. Then we are putting, because we are saying it has to be above or more than 5,000. Then we are putting this. So these formulas mostly, they are helpful in analyzing large volumes of data. Then you have to, now these formulas, they are a gear up, they are gear up, right? As you can see, I'm putting up that, okay, now this one is done. Then once we've done that, we're just putting this, and we are saying again, then we are saying, right. Then we're putting up that again. Then we're putting up a bracket. So we have put, you can see that column. Okay, this column is okay. It's because of what I did previously. Here I should have this terms that, right. Okay. So I've got, okay, according to this, all right, okay. You can see there. So I've used the if function just for me to see, okay, this business rule that we have, we want to see those cells which are above 5,000. And you could see, I could just set up the formula there in this first column. I could remove it down there. So I could set it up here in this first column. I've set up this formula. Then I just copy it downwards like that. So if I had large volumes of data, I could just do that, right? I could do that. Then later on, when I want to see the information, am I recording? Let me just check. Right. Recording in progress. Let me just check if I'm recording. Yes, it's recording. So if I want to filter, I could then now filter with the rules that I put. If I just wanted to see the high, I could now see the high. So this is handy. I've just used the high, I've used the low. You could use any rule that is applicable. You've got large volumes of data and you want to see certain conditions about your data. The if function, this one that we have used, will help you isolate and pick certain patterns about your data. Then you can filter up, you can filter down so as to see this. So these functions now, you need like to know them. Depending on the rule, you could then have to be able to type it in. So you're typing it in the first row, then you can just copy downwards to the last row. Then it will put up that. Then what you could do is you filter. you filter, just like what I showed you previously. You filter probably with what you want to see, because when you click up here, depending with what you have, you can unselect, or then you pick the one that you want to use to filter, then you'll be able to see that. So that is one example that we could use the if function. Then the other example will be, let's say probably we pay commission on sales. We pay commission on sales, right? And we are in Excel, and we want to say, okay, we are paying 5% on sales which are above 5,000. So we are paying 5% on sales which are above 5,000, right? And we want to pay commission on sales which are below 5,000. So on 5,000, we are paying 5%. On sales which are below 5,000, we are paying 2%. And we want Excel, because let's say we've got information which is running up to 500 lines. So instead of calculating on computing and running row by row, seeing is it below, is it above, is it below 5,000, and computing, we could do that. We could just go row by row and say, okay, fine, we want to calculate the commission. This is above 5,000. So we are simply multiplying that and saying, okay, so what is the commission, right? We want to, so instead of doing that, we can put an if function which will automatically compute for every row. Right. Now, how do we do that? We could just come to column H. Right. Then again, we are typing in, and we're saying equals, then we're putting in the if function, right? Or if function. Then you are putting in bracket. Then we are selecting the first, this, right? Then once we select that, we are now saying it has to be above 5,000. All right. This is the first condition. Then if it is above, then you are saying on these cells, we'll then pay 5%. So we are saying on these cells, we then pay 5%. Then if it is below 5,000, on these cells, we'll then pay 0.02%. Then once we have done that, we then close the bracket like that. Then once we are done, just say enter. So what it does now, you'd find here, it will calculate your 5%. Here, it will calculate your 2%. Because when you copy this formula down, it will automatically compute. It will pick that this is 5%, this is 2%. Let's check if it picked well. Probably it didn't. 0.02. So you can see there, it picked 2%. From what I calculated, it picked what? 2%. Let's check here. I want to see if it picked 5%. So I'm just going to manually calculate times 0.05 and see if it picked 5%. This is what it did. So you could find, instead of me going like doing what I did here, I could just put this if function, copy it down, and then once I copy it down, automatically it will pick that these cells are below 5,000, these cells are above 5,000. For those which are below 5,000, it will use 2%. For those which are above 5,000, it will use 5%. So this function can be used for those purposes. So it's a function that one has to be familiar with. But what is more important are the business rules. Those are the rules which determines how we are going to structure the function, right? So in this case, we are saying the business is saying, okay, fine, we are paying 5% on sales above 5, 2% on sales below 5,000. So it's a rule which has been set, and we are simply implementing that rule on Excel. So these formulas, they work in that sense, especially the if formula. Right. Then let's proceed and look at the other part of it. So we also have got what we term the count if or the count if. All right. It's under the if or if function. Again, mostly we are using it to track performance. That's what we're using it. So you may have your products, you may have your customers, and probably you want to track how many customers bought these products, uh, uh, how many orders need the review. You can do like the regions, these regions that we have, the regions that we have. You can even do a regional analysis using this function, right? So let's say probably we've got these two regions. We've got the north and the and the south. All right. We may have main regions, and there may be a question because it find the if function, how it helps mostly is when you have got questions and then you just want to put in the function so that when you run it, it will answer or it will show you results automatically. This is helpful in a situation where you've got large information. In a few lines like this, you can simply look and see. So, okay, for example, let's say we want to see, like in this case, we've got our north region. So we want to see how many sales, how much came from the north region, right? As a comparison to other regions, right? So we may want to see that. So if we wanted to see that, we could probably just come here. We could come here and put the function, right? We come there, and then we are saying equals, right? Then we are putting the count function, which I'm talking about is this count if. So it's already there. What you're simply doing is you're picking it. So we are picking it. Then we are saying bracket, right? So we're putting bracket. Then we are selecting this. So we are selecting all the data that we have. If we had many rows, we're going to select that. So we select that data up to, right. So what we have is we are selecting, oh, sorry. Okay, let me probably start it. Put up there, bracket, and we are selecting because we have to select this. Okay. Once we have selected that, then we are saying comma, then we are typing north because we want to analyze the north. So we are putting that north, then we are putting that. Then we close the bracket, right? So if we had more information, large information, this could be handy because instead of trying to analyze line by line, row by row, you could just use this. Then automatically it will give you it's a count, so it will simply count and say, okay, how many like in this case, how many do we have for north? So in this case, it will be 2, right? Okay. With this little information, one would say, okay, there is no need for that. But if we had 5,000 or 500 lines, we could find this could be had. So this actually counts, okay, from the cells that we have, how many in terms of number, not value, in terms of number, how many came from the north. So by this column, by this formula, it will show you that 2 came from north. Of course, in this case, we just have got 2 from north and 2 from south. Right. So let's look at the other function. So this one again, we can have what we term the sum. So the sum function, the sum. So when you are using the sum, you're just typing that, then you are also saying sum if, right? Sum if. So you have that. Then this function mostly, again, it helps you analyze. You're analyzing information. Like in this case, we are doing a regional, let's say we're doing a regional analysis. So we probably want just to see the total sales by region. It could be by product, right? It could be by customer. It could be by either targets achieved or not achieved. But in our case, we may say we just want to see by region. So we want to analyze the sales that came from probably, let's say, the North region. Right. So we are putting up that the sum if, then once we put in that, we then put bracket, close that, then we are selecting our our columns, right? Then once we do that, we then put our comma, we then put this, and put that, then we type North, then we close it. But then we can close our bracket, then enter. All right. Okay, it didn't calculate. So I missed it somewhere. Let me see whether I should add. Let me add this. All right, let me add this, then select this, then enter. Okay, then it calculated. So I left out was what I'm supposed to do is I'm putting in this formula, if formula, then I'm selecting the regions plus these total figures. I'm putting in the comma, putting in the north because that's the one which I want to pick. Then I'm selecting these figures right here. Then it will give me the total. Okay, I could add up this, right? I could add up this like, like that. This is for the north plus this for the north, then that. And then it could just give me the 17. But I'm saying it's very much possible when you're working with few lines like these ones. But let's say we had 100 lines. So it means we have either to use a calculator or you have to go row by row, saying this plus that, because the data will be mixed. You've got north, south, east, west, and whatever region that we have. So this sum if could actually help you because you're simply saying, okay, fine. For the sum if, what am I going to do? I put in the formula. I select the regions just like what we did, put a comma, put the one that we want to analyze, see its totals, select the figures in this totals column, enter, then it will give us the total for that particular region. So it's very handy. It cuts on time because you find doing so, it really cuts on time. Right. The other one, which we may want to look at, is the average if. Right. Again, as I said, it's on big data. Many rows, 500 rows, 1,000 rows. So the average calculates the average per like in our case, we've got these regions. So it would calculate the average per region. It could calculate the average per product. It could calculate the average per customer. It could calculate the average per sales representative. So it all depends. You want to see an average performance, probably using the regions in our case. So in that case, now you would run that formula. And for you to run the formula, you are again more or less just like what we did with the sum, but we are just using the average. So we are saying equals, then we are typing average if, right? So when we do that, we are typing this, right? Then we are putting bracket. Then we are selecting our first selection. This is our first selection. We are putting a comma. We are putting this. We are typing north because we want to analyze for north. Then we are coming and selecting this, right? So no, we're supposed to, okay, fine. No, I did this wrongly. So after selecting that, we're supposed to put a comma. Don't forget to put a comma. Then we then select this part. Then we close with the bracket. Once we do that, so select that, then we enter. Right. Automatically, it will calculate the average. This average, you can cross-check and see if we were to add these two, that plus 17 plus 7, it will give us that. If we were to divide this by 2, just want to see, because these are 2, we could find. So when the lines are few like this, you can manually do it like what we did there. But if you add many lines and just want to find the average IF or the average if could be handy. Now, I'm going to be giving you an assignment, and for you to be implementing these formulas, I'll include the formulas in that assignment so that you run through and do that, just to have an appreciation. Right. The other formula that we want to look at is that is under the if or if the count is. So this one now we have added s in front. So it's count. I'm going to type it in there so that you actually see how. So what it does now, this one counts items that meet multiple business criteria simultaneously. So it provides detailed analysis of specific business scenarios. Right. So you can do segment analysis, count items in specific customer product combinations, performance tracking, quality control, market analysis. Right. Okay. An example: count high value North sales business questions. How many high value sales did the North region make? So again, you must have defined the high value business or the high value sales. You must have defined the right. What are you telling the high value? Then let's say probably you are saying 5,000. Was it? Your North may have many cells. Like in this case, it has got 10,000, it has got 7,000. So let's say probably what we're counting as a high value, let's say it's 8,000. Let's say it's 8,000. So if you are counting that as high value, 8,000 is high value, and we want to use this formula to see how many cells came up with above 8,000. So we could just do our equals as usual, and then we are typing in this count IFS. We're now putting S in front. Then once we do that, we are now putting in our bracket as usual. Then first we are selecting this. That's what we're doing. We're selecting all that. That's what we're doing first. Then we are putting our comma. We are putting this. We are typing what? North. Then you are putting up that. Then again, we're putting in our comma. Then we are coming and selecting this. Right. Then once we do that, we then put a comma again. All right. I'm going to provide you with these formulas. Then you are putting up that. Okay. Then from there on, we are putting in that. Then you are putting in 8,000. In this case, we are using 8,000. Then we are closing with that. Then we are putting what? Our bracket. Then you say enter. Okay. So it's saying value, which means somewhere along, I didn't type in the formula correctly. So I have to check what could be the problem, North, that comma, everything. Right. Okay, let me change this to 5,000 and see what it does. Right. Still is giving me value. Basically,